This is Algebra 2, test number 3. This is our study guide. This is part 2. Earlier in video number 1, I actually made a mistake on number 12. When I did my multiplication at the end, 31 times 27, I got 537 somehow. But this is the actual corrected version when you plug in, or when you simplify these numbers. 6 squared, you get 36. Negative 5 plus that is 31. 3 to the third power means 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. And 31 times 27 is, in fact, 837, not 537 like video 1 said. Okay, let's jump back to the number where video 2 actually starts. Number 19 says 2/5 divided by 5 over 15. Remember with this, anytime you divide fractions, you leave the first fraction alone, 2/5. You change division to multiplication, and you multiply by the reciprocal. Fancy word, that means flip it over. 15 over 5 instead of 5 over 15. We can cross cancel some of this and make smaller numbers. 5 goes into itself and into 15. Into itself once, and into 15 3 times. If you multiply straight across now, 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 times 5 is 5, 6/5. 1/8 divided by 7 over 24, same thing. Leave 1 over 8, change division to multiplication, and flip it. 7 over 24 becomes 24 over 7. 8 goes into both itself and 24, into itself once, and then into 8 3 times. Multiplying straight across, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 7 is 7, 3 over 7. 21 tells you to write 496 miles in 12.4 hours as a rate in simplest form. Rate, remember, that's synonymous with speed. Think of your speedometer in a car when you're thinking of this one. Miles per hour, miles per hour. We have miles right here, 496 of them. And we have hours or time right here, 12.4. 496 miles divided by 12.4 hours is 40 miles per hour. Solve T is equal to V over Q. Solve it for Q. So we got T equals V divided by Q. In order to cancel out divide by Q, you multiply by Q. You multiply to right, do the same to the left. So now we got Q times T. This is canceled out. We still don't have Q by itself, though. We got Q times T is V. So in order to get Q by itself, divide by T. You do it to the left, do it to the right. It'll cancel here and leave you with Q. That's what we wanted, is equal to V divided by T. 23 says to evaluate y equals x plus 9 times x minus 2 when x is equal to 4. So we got two spots to plug it in, right there and there. So y equals 4 plus 9 times 4 minus 2. 4 plus 9 we can put together is 13 times 4 minus 2 is 2. So y is 13 times 2. Y is 26. Okay, here we go. 3 properties. The first one's probably the easiest one to look at and name what it is. That's the one you're most familiar with. 3 is, what properties ask is, what does it look like before the equal sign? And then how does it change after the equal sign? So if you look at this, it says 3 times, and then it's a set of parentheses with x plus 8 in it. When you look at it after the equal sign, it tells you 3x, and it tells you positive 24. We know we use that all the time. You may forget the name of it, but that is the distributive property. The second one says pi plus 11 is equal to 11 plus pi. All this one is the reflective property. Reflective property. Notice it's exactly the same It's exactly the same on both the left and the right, the reflective property. In fact, I'm actually thinking of geometry terms for this from reflective property. What we could better call it for this class, we could better, it's right, reflective is correct, but what we could better call it is, as you look at it again on the left, it says pi plus 11. Notice nothing changes on the right, 11 plus pi, but they swap positions. They move from one position to the other. So something that we could call it even better than the reflective property, even though that's correct, a better answer would be the commutative property. So if you got commutative property, good job with that one. The last one's like the most tricky one for most people because um, people look at it and they see, okay, well, it was 0.8 plus 0, and at the end, it's still 0.8. And then when people start, when students get to thinking about it, well, it kind of looks like the identity property that starts coming through their head. That kind of looks like the property of 0. Kind of looks like the identity property and stuff like that. The way you could tell the difference, though, is the property of 0 is the thing that makes it become 0 at the end. Right now, it didn't become 0. Its identity was 0.08, and it remained, the identity did not change from the left side of the equal sign to the right side. That's why this one is the identity property. And again, when you start doing addition and multiplication, you start talking about both of them, it kind of flips on you. And that's why people get those two confused, the property of 0 versus the identity property. So we'll go with distributive property. That was the easiest one for 24. 25, the better answer again is commutative, but if you thought reflective right away, you're on the right track because that's still correct. Commutative will be a better answer. And then identity for number 26. And then all you have to do with 27, 8, 9, and 30 is plug the values in and simplify it. In place of A, we're going to plug in -4, so 3 times -4, plus, in place of B, we're going to plug in -1, 4 times -1. You do multiplication before you do addition. 3 times -4 is -12. 4 times -1 is -4. -12 minus 4 is -16. 28 says -2 times 3h minus 4 over -5 plus h when h's value is 3. We got two spots to plug it in, though, there and there. So -2 times 3 times 3 minus 4 over -5 plus 3 is h's value. Do what's inside parentheses first. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 minus 4 times -2 over -5 plus 3 will be -2. You'll notice this the further we go into this course. Anytime you have something that's exactly the same at the top and the bottom, you can cancel them out. So we'll do that now. And then -9 minus 4 is simply 5 for that one. If you went ahead and did 9 minus 4, you'd have gotten 5 and multiplied it by -2 and gotten -10. And then when you divided -10 by -2, you'll notice you get to the same 5 that we got there. 29 says x squared plus 5x minus 2 when x's value is 3. So in place of x, we're going to plug in 3. 3 squared, remember it acts like it's in parentheses, plus 5 times 3 minus 2. 3 squared means 3 times itself, not 3 times 2, so we get 9. Plus 5 times 3 is plus 15. Minus 2. 9 plus 15 is 24. And 24 minus 2 is 22. 2x to the third power cubed plus 2x squared plus x plus 1 when x's value is 1. That makes it a whole lot easier. 1 squared is going to be 2 times 1 cubed, I should say, plus 2 times 1 squared plus 1 plus 1. Doesn't matter how many times you raise 1 to a power. 1 times 1 an infinite amount of times will still be 1. So it'll be 2 times 1 plus the same thing here, 2 times 1 plus 1 plus 1. All this nonsense just gives you 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. And then 2 plus 2 is 4, 5, 6 for that one.